You have to think outside the box. Where does my target audience live? Where are they? What events do I need to show up at? Like, actually putting yourself out there. And that's one of my biggest things, creating a space where people want to see you, where people want to hear from you, where people want to book you. And your story is unique because there's no one like you. How do we polish it and put it together and put it in this pretty box where people are like, you know what? I actually want to hear what you have to say. I actually want to hear, and being able to really understand the audience that you're targeting. Because sometimes you're just like, I have a message. That's nice. But does your message fit that person's audience? If not, it's not going to work. Right. And they're not going to call you in. So I think people need to be mindful of those things. And I think that's the way to escape just, I need followers, because the followers would come if you're in the right audience, if you're in front of the right people that want what you want. And when I say want what you want, not the selling component, but want your information and want who you are.
You're listening to the Black to Business Podcast, an educational podcast providing Black entrepreneurs with the tools and resources to start and grow their businesses. We chat with vetted Black entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and business owners as they provide tips and resources to help take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall. Hey, and welcome back to the Black to Business Podcast. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall, and today we're diving headfirst into a topic that's all too familiar for many of us in this entrepreneurship space. Imagine that you've poured your heart and soul into launching this dream business. You've got an incredible product or service ready to make waves. But when it comes to getting noticed, it's like shouting into a void. You're at the mercy of the social media algorithms, and the struggle is real. But fret not, my friend, because today's episode is all about escaping the algorithm, how to grow your business outside of social media. And who better to guide us through all of the noise than the brilliant Lorene Cowan, a certified business and life coach and a visibility strategist with an impressive background, including a master's degree in business management from Harvard University. We'll be delving deep into the very fabric of algorithms, understanding their roles and the benefits in the realm of social media, and most importantly, how they impact startups and businesses like yours. But that's not all you'll uncover today. Prepare to discover how to find your unique voice and effectively connect with your desired audience. We're going to learn the art of borrowing audiences and the valuable tips to make this strategy work for you. We're going to uncover some methods to understand and cater to your audience's wants and needs for ultimate success. And we're going to also explore actionable ways to kickstart your business journey without solely relying on social media, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned entrepreneur. So let's get ready to dive into this fruitful episode. Lorene, welcome to the Black to Business Podcast. I am truly excited to have you here. Before we hopped on, I just felt your energy, and I'm just so excited to share your energy with my audience as well today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Monique. It is such an honor to be here with you today, and I know we're going to have a good time.
Yes, certainly. So before we get into today's topic, which is all about escaping the algorithm and how people can grow their business outside of social media, I want to get my audience familiar with you. So if you could just share a little bit about who you are, what is it that you do in your business, and how you got where you are today.
Awesome. Thank you. Great question. So essentially, I started off relatively young. I was in elementary school. I had about 3 or 4 different hustles, money all over my room. By the time my parents found out, they're like, what is this kid doing? And when I got into college, it was something that was also very important to me, creating different outlets to make money. I was always that person. I wasn't a traditionalist by no stretch of the imagination. And so that kind of went with me into grad school, where I created this resource guide for entrepreneurship. And at that point, I started to gain some traction. People started asking me questions, and I didn't have all the answers. So I reached out to other experts that, lo and behold, was willing to talk to me and say, hey, I'm willing to put my class, my course on your platform, and let's see what happens. Where I am today, I got to the point where it was time for me to put myself out there with all the knowledge that I've experienced through the years, being a consultant in real estate, being a consultant in the TV industry as pertains to marketing and PR. And I created coaching to courses, which allows me to work with individuals that are trying to take their expertise to the next level and actually monetize off of the things that they know. I don't care if it's basket weaving. We all have a skill that someone wants to learn more about, right? And we think like, oh, everybody knows. No, they don't. No one knows it the way you know it. No one knows how to do what you're doing right now in your position the way you do. And so that's what I help bring across to the general population, whomever that may be for them, whoever their target audience is, whoever their avatar is. I help point them in the right direction to get their audience to know, love, and trust them.
I love that. A great intro. And so I first want to start with today's topic with first understanding social media and its algorithm. So if someone were listening and they're like, oh, what's an algorithm? Like, how does it work? What would you say?
So in a real simple, as simple as I can make it, a social media algorithm it's a compilation of information, data, they would say rules, decisions about what users want to see on their platform. So they're taking the time to learn what you want to hear, what you want to see, what keeps you on longer than 5 seconds, right? What's making you engage. And then, as we all know, you keep seeing it over and over again. It becomes repetitive. But yes, that's what they do. They learn you. They learn you sometimes more than your parents know you. So that's essentially what that's all about.
Yes, love it. And so I know we're going to talk about like how people can actually escape the algorithm, but let's talk about the benefits of how algorithms work and why does social media use them particularly and what's it like without them?
It is powerful. Okay. So when people start out, I think you really need to understand your client, understand your target before you go deep into, let's say, ads, et cetera. But what does it mean for you as a person trying to start a business? Again, you now have intel and data that you can use to really target and niche down on your audience. If you are a sorority girl, you can target your sorority. I mean, that's how deep Facebook can get. You can target certain denominations, religious denomination. You can target people that are trying to lose weight. It is so geared towards your audience. And guess what it does? It allows you to stretch your dollar, right? So you're not just reaching the mass for reaching the mass, like you're really niching down on who you want to serve. And so that's one of the benefits of algorithms. It allows you to have little pixels, follow your particular, your avatar around and find out, will this person actually spend? Do they spend? Are they just looking loose? Are they just going to give us information that's going to help us with our business down the line? So it all depends on what you want and what you need at the time. Sometimes people are looking to make a sale. Sometimes you're just trying to amass an email list, right? The algorithms can help you do that. And what's unique about it is that no two people have the same exact Instagram messaging coming through or ads coming through. Everyone, if I went to my friends, it's not going to be the same as mine. And that's what makes it so special and makes it so unique. It's your unique experience.
So, Lorene, how do you think that businesses who are depending on social media to grow their business faring? Like, where are they now?
I think what people have to do, you can't solely depend on social media, especially when you're starting out. For the most part, no one knows you, right? Like you have an amazing idea. Your aunts and your uncles think it's cool, but have you really found your voice? And that's something that's really huge for entrepreneurs. Like my idea is great, but sometimes you sound like someone else in the market, right? Because you thought they were cool. And so you're like, oh, I like the way they created that message. So let me do something similar. No, I think it's important, especially in the beginning, to really find your voice. And the only way you can do that is taking your time to learn your audience. And it's hard to grow an audience, right? It's hard to get started. And a lot of times people, they're not consistent with that, right? They just kind of say, hey, it's not working for a month. I'm done with it. And I don't think in the beginning you should depend solely on social media. There are a plethora of ways to grow your business outside of that. And if you can kind of zone in on that, eventually you can get to the point where you're so laser focused on who your avatar is that your Facebook ads, all these things are going to just work and flow and allow you to scale in a way that can take you to places that you never thought you can reach. But in the beginning, there's so many ways you can borrow audiences through Facebook group, press, building your own, your network, being out there, speaking engagements. So there's tons of things that people can do instead of just solely focusing on social media, because if you focus on that alone in the beginning, you will be discouraged.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So why do you think that people think that social media is their best option?
I mean, we see it. There's overnight sensations, right? Where people, they come up with something and then it just blows up out of the nowhere. You're just like, oh my God, this person has 1 million people following them. What people don't realize is, companies like TikTok, when you first get on these platforms, before they even start promoting, ad spend and all this stuff, they put so much power behind you getting excited, right? Drumming up interest, right? That they will actually throw people at you in the beginning. And so oftentimes when you see these huge success early on in a platform, it's because that particular company allowed that to happen, right? Facebook allowed it to happen in the beginning. You can spend pretty much nothing on an ad, right? All they want to do is get you excited. They wanted to get you to the door. They wanted to get you pumping. And then once that engine start moving, then you're like, man, my ad dollars only last like a couple hours now. Last time I checked, it lasted a week. So, if you're an entrepreneur, you know that. And so you have to figure out ways to circumvent that. But I think people get excited about this shiny object. This person just hit 30 million on YouTube or 1 million on YouTube. I can't get past 500. And so you think, what do I do next to get me to that space? But that doesn't equate money all the time, right? So yeah you have to find creative ways to get to where you need to be.
Yeah, I definitely can see that because when we first created our new page for Black Men Who Lead, they put on Instagram, they were like, this is a new page. And it was like so many people were following that page. And there you have Blacks in Business. We've been just trying to grow.
You're like, I was out here trying to push this through.
Right. Yeah, so that definitely makes sense. So now we know what algorithm is and understanding it in terms of social media. Let's talk about escaping this algorithm, because like you mentioned, there are so many other ways to grow your business. So what does it mean to escape the algorithm?
Okay. So for me, let's be clear. We dived into it a little bit earlier on in the conversation. Building a social media following with your tribe, your ideal customer, is not easy. I repeat, it is not easy. If someone says there's an overnight fix for it, they're lying. The biggest thing you can do is be consistent on a day-to-day basis. That is the hardest thing to do, is be consistent, create content, keep going, keep pushing. Most people get extremely discouraged because they're creating content for hours just to get 2 likes. Right? They're like, wait a minute, I've been, all weekend I've been editing and cutting this up and no one's listening to me. The name of the game is consistency and having the right message that resonates with your audience. Being engaged with your audience is not just about putting in content. It's reaching out. It's talking to them. What do you need? What are your pain points? I want to help. I think a lot of times people want to just sell. I am not a proponent of selling all the time. You need to be able to provide value where people, when they think about what you're doing, you're their go-to person, right? No matter how small you are. I think people are afraid to ask the questions like, what do you need? What can I provide for you? What am I missing? It's okay to get those feedbacks. And you can do that with your small Instagram audience. If you have a small email group, let them be your market research in order to escape this, right? In order to get out of it. So that's one aspect. Really, whomever you have, whoever's in your circle right now, whoever's listening to you, talk to them, right? We're always looking for people in the future, but we're not taking care of the home base, the people that are actually showing us love right now. So, that's one aspect. The second aspect for me is borrowing audiences. And what that means to me is this: being able to get on a TV platform, and I'm not saying it's easy, but there are ways to go about this. Being a guest host, being a guest speaker, speaking on panels, reaching out to the radio station, reaching out to different organizations. You have to think outside the box. Where does my target audience live? Where are they? What events do I need to show up at? Like, actually putting yourself out there. And that's one of my biggest things, creating a space where people want to see you, where people want to hear from you, where people want to book you. And your story is unique because there's no one like you. How do we polish it and put it together and put it in this pretty box where people are like, you know what? I actually want to hear what you have to say. I actually want to hear, and being able to really understand the audience that you're targeting. Because sometimes you're just like, I have a message. That's nice. But does your message fit that person's audience? If not, it's not going to work. Right. And they're not going to call you in. So I think people need to be mindful of those things. And I think that's the way to escape just, I need followers, because the followers will come if you're in the right audience, if you're in front of the right people that want what you want. And when I say want what you want, not the selling component, but want your information and want who you are.
I love that. And I love that you spoke about like really focusing on those people who are showing you love right now, because I do think so many times we get focused on that shiny object. Like, I need more people. I need new people. And we do forget about those people who have been there with us. So love that you said that. So Lorene, what are some of the, as a visibility coach, like what are some of the common challenges that you see entrepreneurs face when it comes to them working to increase their visibility in the market?
You know, it's so crazy. People will come to you for advice and they would come to you like, hey, you know what? But I realize oftentimes people aren't confident. Like there's so many of us that have the ideas. We have the capability. We're smart, right? Yeah. You know, but we just don't believe that we have like, well, what? I don't have any expertise. What do you mean you don't have any expertise? You're an expert at something, frying eggs. I mean, there's something that you know well. And one of the biggest things that I tell people, what do people come up to you and say to you like, man, how do you do this? Can you show me how? There's at some point in your life journey, there are a couple of things that you do so well, whether you know, in your career, whether it's through just working with and helping out friends and family, a skill set that you take for granted that's, you know, that people want to learn about and are confused about, right? Yeah. And you have to believe that it's worth someone spending money on. Because if you can't exude that, I can't do anything about that, right? Like I can't help you believe in yourself. I can send you on a path. I'm really big on manifestation. I'm really big on, I'm a faith-based person, and it's not about religion. It's about believing in what you cannot see. And that goes for anybody. Believing in things that are not there. It's not evident. There's no sign. There's nothing that's telling me I'm going to make X amount of dollars, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that I can do that. So that's the first thing. You might think that's like, well, what does it have to do with visibility? You have to be able to believe that somebody wants to see you. Right. It starts with that. How do you pitch? It's going to come across in your email. It's going to come across in the things that you say. It's going to come across in your interviews that you have no confidence. So that's the first thing. It's like really, I work on the mindset first. Like, hey, let's get your mind right. You can do all things. Do you believe that? Let's push through some of all of the naysay that no one's telling you. You might be just telling yourself, or maybe someone did tell you that, and we have to break that cycle. So that's like the first part for me. And I know it might sound a little odd, but no, let's see if we can get you past I can't, right? And then once we do that, I help them take their past experience and carve it into an amazing message, package it in a way that will get the media's attention. And that's essentially what it is, providing them the visibility they need to grow in their business, grow in themselves, and as an expert in their respective fields.
Love that. And so how do you approach these clients in overcoming their hesitation and how, you know, ways to become more confident so that they can increase their visibility? So what are some tips and strategies for those who might be listening? They're like, okay, that's me.
Okay, so it's going to sound crazy. I can tell you I went through a period in my life where I had a thriving career. I was doing extremely well. I was not happy at all. I took some time, I regrouped, and I had to find myself. I literally lost myself for a brief moment in time. and I had to reprogram myself. It is going to sound nuts what I'm going to say, but I don't know if you are familiar, and a lot of people are, and some people are into it, some people aren't. I don't know if you're familiar with The Secret.
I've heard, yes.
Okay, so years ago, this came out years ago, and I had all my friends on a bandwagon. They were like, girl, you need to, and I was like, oh no, please, that's just some weird stuff out there. Y'all are just so weird. Girl, you better stop, right? I was just on this negative path. I don't even know why. Maybe I was making money and I was like, oh, please, it's just nonsense. And I remember my friends like, let's do a vision board. I said, girl, you want me to sit here and cut up some paper and do what now? So I went through a season of just being so doubtful. And why? Why was I so afraid to open up myself to a possibility outside of what I could see, right? I'm not even joking. Things just started to go haywire. And I was like, man, this isn't feeling good. I'm negative, right? And I literally did a switch, and it wasn't a switch. It's when doubt started to come into my head. It's going to sound crazy. I would say, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. It was the easiest thing that can come into my head. And it could be I'm blessed. It could be I'm healthy. It could be I'm well. But I started to change my talk until it caught up with me. That was the first thing. Whenever and then I realized it was a huge lesson for me. And it's going to, again, I start back with the mindset, because when your mindset is changed, all things open up, all doors open up for you. And so I realized during that time frame that I had so many negative talk in my mind, because every time I would say something negative, I said, okay, throw this positive word in, right? And when I did it, I was like, man, I've said maybe a negative thought. I thought a negative thought in a negative way, maybe 1,000 times today. How can I cut that down? And then it went from 1,000 to 500 to 3 to 1, where my talk became so loving, and I just treated myself so differently. And once I did that, I believe that I can be on different platforms. I believe that I can get into certain magazines. I believe that I could be get this award. I believe that I can hit this target number. And once I did, you're working towards that, right? I'm proud to say my little brother was the valedictorian of Morehouse College this year.
Wow! Congratulations. That's a big deal.
2023. I'm just right. He is 2023 Morehouse College valedictorian. And you want to know something? It's his mindset. He was a smart kid. He is a smart kid. He's had choices from firms across the country. He's into investment banking and all that other good stuff. He's 21 years old and he is rushing. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Freshman year, he said to me, I'm going to do A. And I said to him, all right, well, we're going to do A, right? That was what he said. And he committed to that. And you know what? Because he said it out of his mouth and he believed it in his spirit, that kid worked to his 4.0 plus. Okay. He worked for it. So when he got on that stage, it's so crazy to people when I told them about it, they were just like, you're just so nonchalant. I was like, because I knew it. This is what he said. He put it out there. And that's how I live my life. And that's how I teach my clients to live my life. It is not some fairy dust thing. It's not about algorithm. It's not about Facebook ads. It starts with you. Once you can, if you can change your mind, you can change the world. If you don't believe, no one else will believe your dream, your aspiration. How can they? How can they follow you if you can't even lead yourself? So starting with you, and I keep going back to this point. I know you're probably like, that doesn't make, that's not going with visibility. Yes, it does, because I believe that I'm going to be on X show. I believe that I'm going to be in X magazine. I remember one of the magazines that I wanted to be in, I got it and I was like, man, that's crazy. I did that. And I still have a couple of dreams that I, as far as media, as far as, things that I want to accomplish. And by golly, George, I'm going to get there.
Yes, I believe it. I believe in you. That is, and I feel it. I just feel the energy, and it's so powerful. And I definitely agree. Visibility is this is a part of visibility. And I see it like the confidence is a big thing. And once we change our mind, like you said, we can change our life. So that is beautiful. Okay. So now that we got a lot we've covered. So specifically for Black entrepreneurs, this is the Black to Business podcast. So what do you think our secret is? And for those who are listening, it's like, okay, this is escaping the algorithm. This is the thing that we do good at. And these are the other unconventional ways to increase your visibility outside of social media that most people are not thinking about.
So for me, one of the things, there's a couple of things that I think about. One of the things that and we talked about it earlier, I'm big on asking people what they want. Like, I no longer create products just to create products and services because I think it's great. And I think oftentimes people put hours, weeks, months into something that nobody wants. Find out what your people want, right? Talk to your audience, send out polls, know what they need, want, and desire. And I think they will tell you and they will guide you into a place that will open up doors for you, and it will help you grow, right? And these are your cheerleaders, right? If you're giving them a product they want, they're going to promote you to thy kingdom come. And for me, it's all about consistency. And I mentioned that earlier. A lot of people, again, we're such an amazing people, right? We like our ability to come up and be creative and come up with concepts and world-changing concepts is incredible. But sometimes we lack consistency. We get tired. You actually give up right before you hit your breakthrough point. And another thing that I think that people, they fail to do, they're putting out content for content's sake. And you can't just put it out because you're like, man, I want to fill up today's slot. Have a plan. Like, you should have a clear plan when it comes to your content calendar, when it comes to how you're pitching people, how you're gaining clients. You should have a weekly plan that you stick to. I am up by, let's say, depending on the night before, maybe 5:30. I am meditating. I am focused. I am journaling. I'm in the gym by 6. Create routines and schedule. Right. And then once you start that, especially as a new entrepreneur, you have to have a consistent schedule. You have to show up. You have to sit at your desk at a certain time every day. This is not a wishy-washy thing. You got to take yourself serious in order for potential clients to take you serious. And I know, I'm talking to my people. I am talking to you out here. I am talking to you because you are me. I am you. Like, I have been there where I'm just like, I don't understand why this isn't working out, because I'm not consistently doing it. And I'm expecting the one time I sent out emails and no one responded that the game is over. It's not over unless I say it's over. It's over when I stop. So be consistent in your approach, be focused, don't stop. And one of the biggest things and I'm big on this, is being able to pivot, because sometimes you can have a direction and you need to veer off. Sometimes you need to take a step back, but the only way you're going to know that is if you're consistently working on it so you can see the change that you need to plug into your business.
Good stuff. I totally agree. Now, one of the things we also spoke about earlier is a lot of people, when they're first starting their businesses, they're thinking that social media is the way to go. So for those who are listening and they're like, okay, I'm new, I'm fresh, I'm not going to social media first, I'm not going to be dependent on social media. How would you say that they can start? Like, what are some things that they should focus on as opposed to social media?
Absolutely. So thank you for that question. I think it's so important. It's so vital. It's so amazing what happens when you're in the audience of people, because if you're in the audience, right, let's say it's not my event, right? I didn't create this webinar. I didn't create this series. Someone else invites me into their space. That particular person, their audience, trust them that they're going to bring someone that's going to provide value. So you already have a leg up. What do I mean by that? You do not have to start off at a 5,000 seat arena in order to reach people. You can go to your local chambers of commerce. You can reach out to local groups. I remember when I was first starting, I was reaching out to different people for speaking engagements, and I was looking at events that were coming up relatively soon. And, most times you should give it a little lead time, 2 to 3 months out, 4 months, 5 months. But I didn't care. I was like, I'm doing it for this month. And a woman reached out to me and said, your message resonated with me and I had someone pull out. Will you be the keynote? Come on now. Tell me.
Wow.
Come on now. Like, that's literally was my start, right? And, even reaching out to your local colleges and your universities, they have clubs and events for all different types of things. And you will be surprised. Because most people are like, well, kids can't pay, me to do whatever. Let me tell you something. I know so many people that have gotten amazing opportunities speaking in front of college and universities, because it's not just students that normally participate in various events. They're professors, they're outside alums, they're all different types of people. You don't have a clue who's sitting in front of you. So my biggest plug-in, I would say that got me my start, it's speaking engagements and being okay in the beginning to speak for free. It's okay. Right? It's okay to sharpen your speaking skills, right? Learn how to, communicate effectively. And the one thing I started off in the beginning, by saying a lot of people, when they first start out, they don't have their own voice. They're actually listening to a million other people and they're trying to mimic other people. It takes a while to be yourself. I am me all day long now, but that's not how I started. Right? Like, because you're afraid. So you're like, okay, I like the way this person said this point and I like this. And eventually, as you start to grow in your specific field, as you start to grow in your expertise, you start to I have my Lorene voice now, right? And so I think speaking engagements allows you to do that, right? Especially afterwards with Q&A and staying there. A lot of people, they do speaking engagement and they leave. No, stay in the background, talk to people. I don't care if you're talking to 10 people, 30 people. When you're at your kid's school, ask them, can I speak it for such and such? When you're at your church, ask them, can I speak, can we create something? Create things that aren't even there. If there's an audience, make it happen. The same thing goes for all aspects of media, whether it be radio, podcast, television, magazine. Add value. And that's the name of the game. Add value. Don't go somewhere thinking I'm going to sell a product. Go there saying, how can I impact the most people? How can all the things that I've learned, how can I package it in a way that during this hour conversation, someone's going to walk away learning something. If you can do that, you have changed your business. If you can do that on a consistent basis, you have changed the way your business grows and moves. And so I'm really big on packaging yourself, packaging your skill set, packaging your education, packaging all your life experience and putting it in a way that someone wants to digest your information. They're like, man, I have to have her. I want to have her. I'm curious about her. And that's what I'm big on, creating curiosity where someone wants to call you and say, hey, I want to speak to you, talk to you, and get to know you a little bit more. And I think that's the start. You don't have to start with social media. You don't have to have a following. You have to have a message that someone is willing to listen to and hear and have something to say, not just for talking. I'm not talking for talking's sake. Time is money. You want to talk with purpose. And if you don't have that, then you have to reevaluate and we have to go back to the mindset stage, which is phase 1.
Bars. I was trying not to interrupt because I'm like, okay, that's a good snippet. All of that is so good. The whole thing.
You are funny. Okay. You are hilarious. I love it.
So good. So you've shown us, okay, so those are the new entrepreneurs. Now, those who are listening who are like, okay, I've been in the game for a minute. I'm established. I'm looking to reduce my dependence on social media algorithms. What are some of the strategies like you would say for them and how they can approach this?
Okay, so a more seasoned person just they have more thing in their bank, right? I'm big on a bank, right? So your bank could be talking points. Your bank essentially is who you are as a person. I am big in the dream. I don't know if you know about like the Dream 100.
Oh, the list.
I think you were kind of heading to where I'm going with it. So
okay.
I'm not even a Dream 100. I'm a Dream 1,000. I'm a Dream 1,000,000. But let's just start with the dream. I just call it the dream. So the dream for me is this, whether it's podcast, radio, television, because now you're seasoned, right? Now you know yourself. You've been doing this for a minute. You're trying to put yourself out there. You're not just kind of picking up. Now we're going after not just anybody. Like now I go after the dream. Like you're a dream. Like you're on the dream list, right?
Oh, yes.
I'm serious. This is the true talk. So when you first start, you're kind of like, let me just kind of push through, right? And as you become more seasoned and you have more things to offer and more things to say, and you have more things in your bank, and your bank is all things you, now you can go after, you can target people that you've always dreamed to work with, you've always dreamed to talk to, right? And usually, that allows you more access and more space. So in every category, right, whether it's television, this is what I do. And it's way more than 100 at this point, but in every category, whether it's speaking engagements, I research the top conferences I want to speak at, right? I research the top podcast, and it doesn't, like, in my specific niche. And one thing that I do that's a little bit different than other people that focus on the dream, I'm not just going after just like, oh, this is the top business podcast. No, I go a little further. I want the top Black business podcast. I want the top Black Christian podcast, the Black mindset podcast. You know, like, you have to lean into your strengths. And that's the same thing, whether you're Asian, whether you're Caucasian, whatever it is, lean into who you are, and with people that will, like, oh, hey girl, I see you. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds crazy, but I think people get so fixated on one aspect when you have to really start to niche down. If you're interested in real estate, hit that Black real estate podcast, find ways to partner with people, right? So I have my partnership list, right? My dream partnership list. I have my dream radio list, TV list, whatever. And the whole purpose of this is to grow in that list, right? It may, someone that you're reaching out today may not want you today, maybe next month and maybe next year, but you continue to foster a relationship, and a genuine relationship at that, right? Like, get to know their what they're doing, get to know their audience, get to know who they're talking to, so that way you speak the same language, and when it's time, you're ready to go at it. And I think for me, it's tightening up that list. In the beginning, go for it all. Once we get a little bit more seasoned and we're like, now I'm an expert at this. No, it's time to get down to that dream, right? Focus, niche down, connect. And it's not just about getting to that list. It's about, how do you target them? How do you reach them? How do you answer your friends on email, right? It's like, hey girl, what's going on with her? You have this flow. You want to be able to have a flow. You want to have an honest conversation with individuals, and you don't want it to be transactional. Again, I always lead with value. Lead with value, not with your product. Your product is last. Lead with value, and by the time, again, you're more seasoned in your business, you have so much value to give. And you can't be afraid to share. Well, I don't want them to know what I know. What? Yeah. That sounds crazy. Like, what does that even mean? No, share your knowledge, share your wealth. And that's how you get people to start to follow you. And you start to be like, man, I spoke at that event. I got X amount more people follow me today, because they saw what? They saw the fact that you can provide them value. People don't care what they can do for you. They care what you can do for them, essentially. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question, but
it answers the question. And also, like you said earlier, it's like, nobody can do it like you. So you have your own unique way of doing it. So it's true. Like, they can say what you said, but they can't say it like you said it.
And they may try to come close, but no one's going to add that little extra spice like grandma can. Nobody's going to do it like she can, right? And that's how you have to see yourself.
Yep. And so, Lorene, how do you measure the success of all of this? So when you're looking, so for people who are listening, in terms of like, okay, I'm escaping, the topic of the day is escaping the algorithm and growing your business outside of social media. So how do they measure their success, and what are some of those metrics that they should focus on?
Okay. So for me, now we can get to like the numbers game. To me, it's a numbers game. I say it all the time. And I'm actually glad you brought this question up, after the last question. So after you create these and you should continue to grow your dream list, right? So it doesn't stop after you've reached out to your 100. You're now going to cultivate these relationships. What I do is a numbers game. So even if I'm doing cold calling, I'm cold calling my ideal avatar. I'm cold calling my ideal client, right? I'm reaching out. Guess what? After a while, and I hate to say this, all math, that if I reach out to 50 people, right? And this is we're not making it based off of some specific algorithm or some specific metrics. It's based off of your skill sets, right? So, because there's some people that can close on every 10 calls, they can close one, where it may take someone else 50 to close one, right? After a while, you start to get to know how many people, how many contacts you have to reach as it pertains to media, how many people you have to reach as it pertains to clients to get to the number you want to get. So if you want to make X amount of dollars and you've been working at it, remember we talked about consistency. So you've consistently, reached out, did your outreach. You have a system in place. That's another we can have a whole conversation another day about having systems and procedures in place, but you have your system in place. So I now know, based off of my conversions, I can close X amount. And that's how you really start to do true business, where you're not winging it anymore, right? Where you plug it, at the beginning you have to, right? You don't know, there's no numbers to go off of, right? So you just have to just work hard, keep pushing. But start to measure those, count out how many people you're reaching out, count how many people is going into your first sales call and then actually closing into a sales, right? Because in seeing that, you know where you have to make changes, right? Sometimes it could be in your, if we're talking about just platforms, it could be in your landing page. Okay, my landing page isn't resonating because by the time they get to this page, no one's clicking in any further, right? And that's the great thing about algorithm. It lets you see in real time what people, how the percentage of people that are actually purchasing versus the percentage of people that are just, being looky-loos, and, how long does it take you to put them, so there's all these types of different things. The biggest thing I can tell people in a nutshell, it's a numbers game. Learn your numbers for your business. If you learn your numbers, it's so powerful. And you want to learn your numbers before you start going into Facebook ads and start going, spending money. Learn your numbers, right? And once you know your numbers, you can plug in anything and make money. Yes. And for me, it's simple. How many people do you need to contact to get to the number you're looking for, and continue doing that till it's time to add automation and scaling methods? If I could give one piece of advice to business looking to escape the algorithm and diversify, I would say try different methods, right? Like, spend some time in Facebook group and just don't throw your link there. That's ridiculous, right? Can you imagine somebody it's so disrespectful. You have a Facebook group and somebody's like, well, here's my business. Who you?
What value?
Who are you? I'm taking, take your time, ask questions, ask what they need, ask people what they want, be respectful, right? Like, that people say, well, this person has 100,000 people. I can no, it's rude. It's, find ways to create partnerships, try different methods. So one day you can focus on media. The next day you focus on cold calling. The next day you focus on, speaking engagements. Every day have your focus work and hit your numbers every day. With doing that on a consistent basis, you will see results. So those are the types of metrics that I kind of flow with. It's just plugging in numbers, knowing your numbers after a while because you've been doing it for so long. And again, that's just repetition.
Love it. And one of the last things I want to ask you about is, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but I want to expound on it a little bit more, is borrowing audiences. So can you clarify more so what that is, and then some tips for how people can do that?
Okay, so borrowing an audience, it's an audience that you didn't work for. I hate to say it like that. You didn't work for that audience. This person created a environment where people want to listen to them. Guess what? You have an audience of people that know, love, and trust you at this point because they tune in every week to hear you. They want to know what you have to offer. They want to know what's going on, and they believe that you're going to provide them with value, right? So tapping into your dream audience, your dream podcast, your dream radio, connecting with those people that may have your specific audience and providing value. No, I'm not here to pitch. I'm here to provide value to your audience. If someone sees value in that, then that's great, but that should never be your intention. It's to be in front of an audience where you can provide value. So tightening up your dream list, contacting individual. And again, I'm saying it, I'm just throwing out these statements, but there's an art to creating a pitch, right? There's an art in contacting people. And guess what? It changes depending on what media outlet you're using, right? Yeah. Like, radio is different from TV, which is different from magazine, which is different. Everyone has, have their own, ways of doing things. And also, if people give you instruction, guess what? People follow them. Yes, follow instruction. Read. Just don't do whatever you want to do because you feel like it's cool. No, it's disrespectful. I'm really big on being respectful of people's time, energy, and everything else because you want people to do the same thing to you. And guess what? What you put out there is what you're going to receive. And in my life, all I want is blessings on blessings on blessings. Yes. So I try to provide value and blessings to others and, try to be as much of a resource as I possibly can. So borrowing is basically learning how to talk to the media, learning how to talk to people that are hosting events, learning how to cold outreach, people that have an audience that you would like to touch. Who do you want to touch? How do you want to change lives and getting in front of their audience? That's essentially what borrowing an audience means.
Love it. Well, Lorene, you have certainly provided so much value in today's conversation and the work that you're doing. So somebody is listening, they're like, okay, how can you help me grow my business in this way outside of social media or just grow my visibility? What are some of the ways that people can work with you and talk about some of your programs, your offers?
Okay, I'm not even going to even do no deep dive sell. I'm going to keep it so simple.
Okay.
I help find your unique voice and teaching methodology that will have your dream clients screaming, yes, girl, yes, or yes, guy, yes. So that is my whole thing, is getting you to really learn your voice, learn your message, creating this system and flow that allows people to be receptive, hear, grow, and learn from you.
And do you have any stories or testimonials about like a client that stood out and, a transformation story?
Oh, absolutely. I was working with a young lady who is a speech pathologist. And so she works with young children that have speaking ailments. And what she wanted to do was to create a coaching program for parents that they can do on their own at home, right? Because, she may be meeting with parents once a week, but there's a void all week long that they have to try to communicate effectively with their kids and providing tools. So what we did was, she had no social media, no nothing. And, I'm a very creative person. So what we did was we went to the local school board and we pitched them first. We got them excited because who do they work with? Parents, right? Yeah. So we packaged it in a way that they couldn't refuse. And without any sort of social media following, just based off of her expertise, she was able to sell. We're actually going to grow her stuff out. And now she cares about social media because, we're going to now focus on ads, but we didn't have to do that at that point. We literally just went out to the local school district and then expanded that. And now we want to reach out to the parents on a mass level, but we wanted to start, and what people have to realize, to start small, because when you start small, you can fix all the kinks. Yeah. Before it's public and it's out there and people are like, well, this doesn't work. No, you can find that out with the first 5 parents, what works, what doesn't work. You don't need to put things out there spend money on ads and when you can use your initial clients as your beta test.
Lovely. And Lorene, for you as the leader and business owner, like what are some ways, like how do you stay organized? Are there some tools and resources that you use that you could possibly share with my audience?
Oh, absolutely. So without a shadow, I've used a lot of different platforms in the last couple years. I've had, I'm sure for you, like I've had people build out my sites and do all kinds of cool things. The platform that I love more than ever, because it's like this whole marketing system all in one, is system.io. I live for them. It's systeme.io. Awesome. It is everything. And no one's paying me to say this. Like, it is everything you want and need. And it's so simple. By the way, I am not a super tech I'm not a techie person, but what I mean, I can create some bomb landing pages. Like I can create so many amazing things with this platform. I love it. Like love it. So yes. So that's one of the platforms that I use. And it actually allows you to have automated systems where you can have your emails go out. Everything is automated on there, which I love. So I pretty much use that for all of my course coaching, that kind of stuff. I use system.io.
Definitely going to put that one in the show notes. Okay.
Yep. Love it.
And what advice would you have for a new entrepreneur?
Okay. I'm going to make a joke. I was like, get your mind right. I'm just.
That's good advice.
All right. Get your mind right. Believe in yourself. Come up with a plan, right? Think it through and don't take forever to execute. When you execute, you'll know what you need to change. I don't want to hear an entrepreneur tell me I've been on this for about 9 months, but it ain't finished yet. I'm just trying to, no, put it out there. Let's see it. Let someone see it, right? And not just your mom and your dad. Find people that find your niche, find your space, find a group that's interested in what you have and ask them questions. Hey, can you guys give me feedback? Be open to feedback, be open to learning, be open to someone saying, hey, this is great, or this is what you may want to change this, you may want to add this. Do your market research, again, not just with family and friends, but with people that actually care about what you're selling and what you're trying to put out there to the mass. So that's my biggest advice. Put it out there. Someone said this and I believe it with my whole heart. Done is better than perfect.
Yes.
Get it done. Put it out there as long as it makes sense. Remember that, it's representing you. So don't put out garbage now because that represents you. Right. Put out something that makes sense. But I don't I've been working on this. I had a friend of mine, her guy friend was telling her I had this about 5 years now. I just haven't pulled the trigger. Okay. Nobody wants to hear that, sir. Things have changed 50 times over, since you had this lovely idea, come on now. So I'm big on putting, testing things out, putting it out there in the market, trusting yourself, believe in yourself, and keep it pushing.
Totally agree. Okay, and now for a quick, not so serious business. So these are some fun questions. Which TV show do you wish still aired?
Ooh, that's so good. Oh my gosh, TV show. Wow, man, that was really good. That's a curve. I mean, as far as sitcoms and so, I wish there was a reboot of The Cosby Show. I love what it represented. A reboot, a do-over of The Cosby Show, a do-over of A Different World. I mean, that's, my family's from the Caribbean. I'm first generation American. I knew that I could when I saw A Different World. I was just man, that's what I want to wear a jacket. I want to, I was like, I'm going to college. I didn't even know what that meant really when I was a little girl. I'm doing this. So shows like that, I resonates with me, and I wish they kind of would do a really good reboot would be awesome.
Yeah. So if your business had a theme song that played every time you entered the room, what would that song be and why? Okay,
you killing me here. The work stuff was easy. Oh my God. Okay. I would say every day I'm hustling.
Okay. Yes. I like it. That's I love me some Rick Ross. So yes.
I'm a Rick Ross. Okay, Rick, if you are out there, I am the biggest crush. Okay.
All right. So the last one is what's
that was so good. I'm sorry. I was like, that was so good.
What's the most random social media account you follow?
Oh man, random. So okay, it's not necessarily random, but I enjoy anything pertaining to 4C hair. So I've had such a fun journey, especially during COVID, growing my hair. My hair is it's down my back. I wanted to get down all the way down waist. And I'm doing it for fun, right? I do it for fun. There's no rhyme or reason. I rarely take it out. Sometimes my friends see me with a big old Afro puff, but 4C based things, anything about natural hair, naturalista stuff. I am so it's not necessarily weird or whatever, but it's just, most people don't know that about me, that I make my own products. I have fun making my own oils, my rinses. Yeah, that's one of my little kooky, my conditioners. I make my own stuff for fun in my house. So I'm following all things 4C. That's my thing.
Okay, so I need your tips on some oil because, what's your favorite oils?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Oh, this is fun. Okay, so for me, one of the oils that I make that stimulates hair growth is actually pepper oil, cayenne, chili pepper, all that good stuff. And I have it sit for a month, my dear, a month. So I'm going to give you my rotation right now.
Okay, give it to me.
So I mix at least 3-4 peppers together, and in the red family, not black pepper, but everything else. Mix them up about I would put it in. An average oil bottle size. Yeah. And I'm pouring that pepper in, leaving under the sink and letting it sit. But during the other time, there's 2 other oils. I have 3 oils that I rotate with. The other one is coffee oil.
What? See, I've never heard this. See, I love it.
No, you have. Okay, if we were live, I would show you where my hair is right now. It's ridiculous. I could not get my hair past shoulder length for so many years. I couldn't get it past. Now it's somewhere ridiculous, and matter of fact, it just breaks because I'm just not even doing anything right. I'm just my hair. But I do coffee oil where I put a certain amount of coffee into the pot. I add oil. I let it simmer for about an hour. I then strain it, right? I strain that. I put it in the oil bottle. That's ready to go right away. So that one you can do day 1. I then take the leftover oil and coffee grain. I add hot water, and that's my day-to-day rinse in the shower. When I mean
Wow.
hair follicles started popping out of nowhere, hair is just growing out of nowhere, insane. So
I'm
that's
going to try it.
oil number 3. I'm giving you my entire routine. So
Okay.
pepper oil, I don't have a rinse for that, but for the coffee, it's the coffee plus the coffee rinse. The last but not least, and definitely one of my favorites, and that one you also sit for a month, it's rosemary and mint. I put a sprig of rosemary and mint into an oil bottle. I put it under and let that rock out for about a month or so. Once that's out, right, once I take the rosemary, I then boil that and I use it as a daily rinse in my hair. And lo and behold, I have hair growing like nobody's business.
I believe it. I love me some mint, so I'm definitely going to try that too. So that you've given us everything. We got the hair stuff, and for the guys that are listening, if you got a little patch, you're going bald. This might help.
Oh, this is it. No, you just rub it in your scalp. You literally rub it in your scalp, and I'm telling you, like my hair growth journey has been so much fun during COVID. It's ridiculous, so much fun. Yeah. Like. I just have these long cornrow. I'm sorry. I'm like that person. I'm just so silly. But I love it. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest.
COVID made all of us like kitchen titians. So,
that was me. I was just in there. Exactly. I was just mixing up and trying different things. I knew what I didn't like, what my hair didn't like. And I started, and also with these stuff too, like add these specific oils to your conditioners as well. It gives it a boost, gives it a kick. So, that's my little hair journey.
Thank you. We'll definitely try it. Okay. I might have to put those in the show notes too. So,
yes.
And so finally, what does it mean to you to be Black in business?
Oh man, I'm going to do it right now. I'm black. I'm like the proudest Black person ever. It means strength. It means bigger than anything else for me, because I love working with young people. Again, I could talk about that all day. I love being an example. Like we are the example. We are the blueprint, right? So for me, it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of honor. And that's why throughout this conversation, I said, provide value. Right. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. I want to impart value on young Black people, old. I don't care who you are, all shapes, sizes. I don't care what it is. Your hair kink, your hair straight, your hair curl, whatever it is. Like it's to me, it's so beautiful being Black. It's so beautiful being able to impart knowledge to my people. I'm like so proud of us. I'm just so, like in spaces like this where we're all just trying to be better, where we're all just trying to grow and encourage one another. It just means the world. Like you can hear it I'm saying this from my chest right now. It means so much. No, I'm serious. It means so much to be a part. That's why I told you when we got on the phone, you know, you thought I was joking. I was so excited because this is changing lives. You're changing lives. And you don't even you are changing lives. Every time you speak, you change a life. And so what does that mean? You're in your home, you're doing whatever, and you may have helped someone start a business that didn't think that they can do it just because they tuned into you. That's dope to me. That's what it means to be Black in business. You are the epitome of what it means to be Black in business. Like, you don't know who you're reaching. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It's wild. It really is.
It is wild when you put things into perspective. You have no clue who cried over something that you put out there 2-3 months ago because everyone told them they couldn't do it. But they heard you bring someone on that made them realize, no, yes, I can. That's dope. That's what it means to be Black in business.
Lorene, now when we got on this call, I had told you I had a day because it was the interns, like you making me emotional again. So, but it has been, I tell you, it has been such a joy to speak with you. And I felt it when we got on the call. And I just love everything that you're doing and the work that you're doing, pouring into others, pouring into my audience. And I really appreciate you for stopping by today and chatting. I know this won't be the last time we talk.
No, this ain't it, girl. You know, you already know we together now. We got this. We got this.
Thank you, Lorene. Thank you so much for being on the Black to Business podcast. And people who are listening, they're going to want to know, how can they find you, support you, and connect with you? So please do share.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, I'll go on my thank you afterwards, but they can go to coachingtocourses.com. SYSTEME.io. I told you I'm in love with System.io. No one is paying me to say this. Love them, love them, love them. You guys will love it too. But it's coachingtocourses.system.io. You can find me. You can talk to me. You can connect with me. That's where I'm at. And I just want to thank you, sis. I want to honor you in this moment. Thank you for what you have created, what you have built, and what you will continue to do. This is just the beginning of so many more things that's going to open up for you. And I know you know this already. And I just thank you for making me be a part of your journey with you at this stage. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for your kind words. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Black to Business podcast. I hope you are as inspired as I am by the incredible insights Lorene shared with us. Wasn't her bubbly personality just infectious? And that's what I absolutely love about having guests on the show. Real people being themselves, sharing their wisdom, and even giving us a sneak peek into their personal routines. I mean, hair care tips? Where else are you getting business advice and hair care tips? And that's the kind of weirdness that we are here for. Remember, if you want to dive deep into the wisdom that Lorene shared today and explore the resources that she mentioned, head over to blacktobusiness.com/163. You'll find all the information that you need right there. And before we sign off, I want to extend a big thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in and being a part of the Black to Business family. Your support is what keeps us going, and we are dedicated to bringing you valuable insights and amazing guests that can help you on your entrepreneurial journey. If you enjoyed today's episode and found value in our discussion with Lorene, I kindly ask that you take a moment and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback means the world to us, and it also helps other ambitious entrepreneurs like yourself discover the show. Stay connected with us by following us on social media at Black to Business and subscribing to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will chat with you next week, same time, same place.